Okay, so welcome everyone for our story workshop. I'm so excited for this. Story medicine is really the greatest gift I feel like we each have that we can offer the world. And I'm curious if anyone got to hear the women's, like the world's best, top women network marketing event that was happening this weekend with Lisa Nichols and Marina Worre. It was so inspiring. I know, Bob, you got to be there. Do you want to share a couple of your takeaways and inspiration from just being there and listening?
Well, it rounded out with your story and how important it is to make that connection with people. Your story is sowing the seeds, explaining why you're in it. And, just hearing Lisa and how she, really formulates it so that you're, ah, really involved. And and one thing I gotta say, and I said it to you, it's like, wait a minute, a lot of this stuff I've learned already from Mary and Rita in corporate, Okay, you know, since this is my first exposure to um, network marketing, it's like, wait a minute, this would work with anything. What we're learning here will work with anything. Um, and they talked about duplication and how you can lead better and really take your um, use your time wisely. Don't become a therapist. Decide who you're going to spend time with. Okay, now I know, Laura, why you need to get off the phone. And just just incorporating how to better develop your story. And I'd like to learn more about that.
Yay, thank you, Bob. So for your reflections, and yeah, it was a really deeply moving experience. I know I cried multiple times while I was listening to their stories because it was something that I could relate to and that touched such a deep part of me or a lesson that I'd learned. And it was almost like validation for something you've been through or an experience you're trying to overcome or an experience you have overcome. So yeah, our stories are medicine. And so I want us to go ahead and go into the beauty within boards. So I'll put that link in there. Okay, so it's in the chat. But the We on Fire boards, there's a Beauty Within folder. And in that folder, there's a storytelling prompt, which is what we're going to be going through today and telling our own story. So the idea is I want to create a beauty within movement and, discover what that means to you because it means a lot of things to me. And so the prompt is that we're going to write about a time in your life when you or someone you know didn't feel beautiful or had a moment of low worth or felt a moment of feeling lost or disconnected from your own body. And how did you reclaim, or how are you reclaiming your relationship to yourself? And what does beauty within mean to you? So I wanted to share an example of one of the stories from my life, and I have a few. This first one is from my friend. So in high school, I saw my friend look in the mirror, lift up her shirt, suck in and pinch her belly. She squeezed her thighs, and I'll never forget the look of disgust and rejection she gave herself. She didn't see how gorgeous she was. In my eyes, she looked like a goddess, a toned and supple athlete with long hair, curved hips, and cute freckles. In her eyes, she believed she was fat. Oops, I'm letting people in. She believed she was ugly. She thought she wasn't good enough. It broke my heart. She didn't see what I saw. Where she saw imperfection, I saw strength. Let's go ahead and mute everyone. I saw a woman who had something so special to offer, it couldn't be presented in a pretty little box. When she looked in the mirror, I'd watch her deflate. Her shoulders would collapse, her chest would sink in, and she'd exhale with a frustrated sigh as if to say, "Why bother? Nobody's going to like me anyway." Beauty within is a reclamation of our natural born beauty, a beauty that doesn't measure ourselves against external standards. Because you know what? No one and nothing outside of you determines your worth, not your success, your accolades, designer clothes, your outcomes, your weight. That stuff can't even touch the beauty and the grace that lives inside of you. And beauty within, that's who we're having a conversation with. That's who we're getting to know. The part of you that's so radiant, we keep her boxed up because we're afraid if we let her out, the world can't handle her. So if you want to have the courage to face yourself, all of yourself, with unconditional love, I invite you to join us. So raise your hand or drop a 1 in the comment if you felt that way before, if you felt, maybe not good enough or felt a time where you doubted yourself. Yeah. So this is my unique story of my friend. I also have one of my own stories of my own experiences with feeling that loss of worth or feeling a bit lost in a time in my life. And then I'm currently writing how I moved through that. And so, um, and through that personal story that I just shared, it really helped me to define like what beauty within means to me, and like the impact or outcome I want to help other people achieve. And there's many of those. This is just one component. So I'd love to hear if anyone has a time or a moment that you want to reflect on. But we're going to be doing an outline. And so I'm just going to give us a little bit of creative writing time, and then we'll kind of go into sharing a bit. But I want you to think of a time where you didn't feel that worth. And you're going to share like, what season was it? Describe yourself. What happened? How did you feel? What ran through your head? Like the thoughts that we had, but we didn't say out loud are like the thoughts that, we all think, but are never actually validated or spoken out loud. And it can be so healing when we hear someone else say those thoughts out loud. It's like a recognition to our own soul in a time where we also maybe struggled. And then, how did you rise? And what did you learn? And when you're thinking about what you learned, think about, maybe what would you tell that previous self now, looking back? Like, what would you tell him or her? Or what would you tell someone who is going through a similar experience of what you were experiencing? What would you tell them? So I'm just going to give us 10 minutes to creatively write and then share our reflections, and we'll go through it together. So let me know if there's any questions in the chat. Hi, and welcome to those just joining us. I was just sharing my own story of a time when a friend was experiencing low self-worth. And I put the Google Docs of the story prompts of what we're going through. So we're just doing creative writing for those of you that just joined us on the story prompt. Okay, guys, I'm gonna let you all continue to finish writing later, but drop a 3 if that exercise was helpful for you to connect into a moment. And this can be, not only medicine for others, but medicine for ourselves, where we get to actually reflect on some of our big life moments. And a lot of the bigger moments we've had aren't necessarily a big life event, but it's a mental shift, a mindset shift that we went through, like an internal experience. Okay, great. And the other thing I want to touch on that's in that in the storytelling prompt is me, we, you. And so that's the audience connection formula. So that's what brings people into your story, and it makes it their story instead of your story. So the formula is there was a time when and so you share an example. There was a time when I didn't validate my own truth or my own voice, just as an example. We tend to believe that our perspective doesn't matter, or we think that we might get made fun of. This is just an example. Has there ever been a time when you felt like you didn't have permission to show up and shine? So you're sharing your story and what you learned, the lessons that you've learned, the thoughts that you had, but you're sharing it from starting with yourself and then extending it out to we, to us. And then has there ever been a time when you felt so? Me, we, you. So that's something that you can add into maybe your final paragraph, or maybe that helps, you get going and writing it. But we want to share our experience and then open that up, invite other people into that experience, in a more universal way. And then the final kind of closing is your invitation. So after you've kind of written out your story, written out some of the things that you've learned from that experience, or some of the things that you would have told that younger version of yourself, then you invite people into that with you. Like my example from my story was, beauty within is a reclamation of our natural born beauty, because no one outside of you determines your worth. So I invite you, to stepping into. So if you want to have the courage to face yourself, all of yourself, with unconditional love, I invite you to join us. Right. So it's that extending that invitation from what you've learned from this deeper experience and inviting other people into it. And a way that you can bring it really full circle back into our offering of Beauty Within, which is, a 30, 60, 90-day transformation, focusing more on the collagen support pack, but any pack that people need. Think of 3 benefits you've received on your health journey through Purium. Speak to the result or outcomes of those benefits, whether it's having more self-worth or more confidence, whether it's having more energy. And then speak to 3 result outcomes of the business, positive outcomes you've received from the business, whether it's being seen, whether it's moving through your limiting beliefs, whether it's being held and uplifted in community. I'm going to give a few more minutes to reflect on that. And so my invitation for everyone here is, first of all, thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing your voice and your story, because we have so much to learn from each other. And sharing in this exercise is going to be really healing for all of us. So I'm inviting us to share our story publicly, like do a reel or do a post, and use the hashtag Beauty Within movement. It's on the storytelling document. And that way we can listen to each other's stories and tag each other and find each other. And then, this can be broken into multiple shares because there's multiple prompts here. It can be your story. It can be the lessons that you've learned. It can be your invitation, what you're inviting people to explore in themselves. It can be, the 3 benefits or outcomes you've received in doing this transformation yourself, or the 3 benefits and outcomes you've received in participating in this business, in this community. So there's multiple story avenues here that we can share. So I'd love to hear closing, just takeaways, questions, if anyone needs help working through your story, or just thoughts in general of how this helped you today. Anyone can come off mute, popcorn style, and just share some reflections. And
I'm
was
glad
this, oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I was glad I came in when you said me, we, you. I mean, that helped me break it, like have it feels like that's what I'm always reaching for, but seeing that grid finally makes it gonna I'm gonna do it.
Yay. Yeah, you could do that in every single conversation, weaving in that me, we, you, or weave it into every story you tell. It's so, so moving and powerful and healing for everyone for you telling and for those receiving and listening. Yeah, thank you. I love that. Was that challenging for anyone? I'm sure there's some challenges in there too.
I realize that there's so many stories I have, whether it's about my strength, my giving my uh, strength to to women, other women, but
Yeah.
and not trusting my instinct, um, becoming believing I'm not, on the male side, beauty is more women, male, kind of more, strength. Was I a good athlete? That's a story. Was I a good salesman? That's another story. Why wasn't I trained better? All those things. So
Yes.
thanks.
Thank you. And Bob, you're welcome to shift it from beauty within to strength within, or something that resonates with you. Or if you're talking to other women, beauty within, whatever, whatever way, just have full creative freedom in this. And I can definitely relate to all of those things. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Anyone else want to share some takeaways or
Hey,
stories?
Rita. Yeah, thank you
Hi.
so much. Hi. What's coming through to me is this is like a current story for me being postpartum and finding that balance of making sure like I'm getting across that I am truly thankful for what my body just went through. But I am still finding that negative self-talk, like none of my clothes fit me yet. And so this is like coming at such a perfect time for me to speak to, because I was actually going to try to do a transformation on my own. Then I saw that this was happening. So really grateful for this topic. And I think it's just so important. So yeah, the vulnerability piece is going to be my challenge in a way, I would say. So I'm going to work through that and be as true as what comes through. So thanks again.
Thank you for sharing that, Anna. And I know that's going to be really, really powerful to hear. So I can't wait. Thank you. Yay. Well, thank you so much, everyone. I'm going to close us out unless there's any final questions and comments. But I can't wait to hear everyone's story and just have fun with it. Like there's no perfection. It's just free flow, whatever comes out, and there'll be 1 draft and 2 draft and 3 drafts, but just share it, and it will get better the more you tell it, and it will become more embodied the more you tell it. And the purpose is like that who can we impact, you know, through our own words, through acknowledging our own experiences, you know, and acknowledging how we felt and what we went through and how we moved through that, you know. So tag each other. We can use beauty within, strength within. And I just can't wait to hear everybody's shares. So thank you. And we do have the
Thank you
first
again.
info call for Beauty Within this Thursday, right after our team call. So invite people, and in the boards, there's invitations, there's slides, there's everything that you need. So go check that out and keep us posted with questions. Love y'all.